241 Hijrah. He was also, by the way, the last of the four great Imams to die. Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, they all passed away before Imam Ahmad. May Allah's mercy be on all of them. The first of them was Abu Hanifa, who died 150. Then it was Imam Malik, who died 179. Then it was Imam Shafi'i, who died 204. And then it was Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who died 241 Hijrah. And each one of them is basically one generation away from the other one. And Imam Ahmad was also not only a scholar of fiqh, he was also a scholar of hadith, and he was also a scholar of theology. And he left many students who took on his legacy after him. And his greatest book was, of course, the Musnad of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And Imam Ahmad was also the teacher of Imam al-Bukhari. So Imam Ahmad's generation was also the generation that the next batch, the most famous batch of the traditionalist scholars, the scholars of the traditions, the scholars of hadith. So the six famous authors of hadith, they came one generation and a generation and a half after Imam Ahmad. So Imam Ahmad was also one of the famous scholars of hadith. So again, hadith has been compiled from the beginning of time. Even the Sahaba had little treatises, but the famous books were written in the generation right after Imam Ahmad. Before that generation, Imam Malik wrote a book called Muwatta. We're all aware of it. It is one of the first, if not the first book written that was meant to be publicized. And Imam Ahmad wrote his Musnad, and then Bukhari comes and dies 256. Imam Ahmad's 241, Bukhari is 256, and he's considered to be one generation less than, because Imam Ahmad died a relatively older man. Now Imam Ahmad's Musnad, there's a beautiful hadith that was relevant to us, and that is in volume 32, page 486. And one of the things about the Musnad Imam Ahmad, which also makes it a bit difficult to read, to be honest, Imam Ahmad's Musnad, the reason why it's called Musnad is that it is arranged not according to topics. Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, Ibn Majah, Muwatta, Imam Malik, they're according to topics. You can look up the book of Salah, you can look up the book of Tafsir, you can look up the book of the signs of the Day of Judgment, you can look up the book of the heart softeners, and you will find all of the ahadith that they wanted you to know about that one topic arranged topically, according to topics. Imam Ahmad did not want to write a book based upon topics. Imam Ahmad wanted to write an encyclopedia based upon the narrator of the hadith. So he's going to have all of the narrations of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq in one section, then Umar al-Khattab, the next section, then Uthman, then Ali radiallahu anhu ajma'in, and so on and so forth. So that's why it is called a Musnad, because a Musnad means a book of hadith that is arranged not according to topics, but according to the Sahaba themselves. And in the Musnad of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, one of the great scholars of one of the great narrators of hadith of the Sahaba, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, we come across hadith number 19,715. So this is very deep into the book. Again, it's volume 32. So again, it's one of the later volumes. And Imam Ahmad says, Waqi' narrated to me that Ali ibn Rifa'a narrated to me that Al-Hasan al-Basri narrated to me that Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu said, قال Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is the hadith. All of that was a tangent to inshallah benefit us about some of the issues of hadith. And we're not done, by the way. There's going to be other benefits right now with it. Again, just FYI. يُعْرَضُ النَّاسُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ ثَلَاثَ عَرَضَاتٍ فأما عرضتان فجدال ومعاذير وأما الثالثة فعند ذلك تطير الصحف في الأيدي فآخذ بيمينه وآخذ بشماله. So this hadith, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, يُعْرَضُ النَّاسُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ ثَلَاثَ عَرَضَاتٍ. People will be displayed on the Day of Judgment, 3 displays. This is a very explicit hadith. People will be displayed 3 times. As for the first 2, فَجِدَالٌ وَمَعَاذِيرٌ. It will be defenses and excuses. So you will be challenged, you will have a time to defend yourself. You will be presented with your accusations, and then you will have a chance to defend yourself, right? And then as for the third, that will be the time, تَطِيرُ الصُّحُفُ فِي الْأَيْدِي, that the scrolls will then be given, i.e. the result will be handed back. So some people will hold with the right hand, may Allah make us amongst them, and others will hold with the left hand. We seek refuge from being amongst them. Now, the issue of the scrolls and the issue of right and left hand, We will get to that inshallah in 2 or 3 lessons whenever we get there, and that is the results as the Quran explicitly mentions. فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ. These are explicit in the Quran. Some people will get the results in the right hand, some will get them in the left hand, and out of shame will put them behind their back. That we're going to come to. This hadith explicitly mentions there shall be 3 times that we're going to have this dialogue with Allah, and Allah Azza wa Jal will speak directly to us, and there will be the three aradat. Now, this seems to be, it solves the problem, that it's very clear that there are 3. And this hadith, by the way, is also found the same with a similar chain in a Tirmidhi, but not as complete of a wording. So I chose Muslim Imam Ahmad's one because it is more details in the wording. However, small technical issue here, and again, just FYI, so that we benefit inshaAllah ta'ala. We have over here the famous tabi'i Al-Hasan Al-Basri. And Hasan Al-Basri was perhaps one of the most, you can say not even perhaps, he was one of the most famous scholars of the students of the Sahaba generation. And he died 110 Hijrah. And he is considered to be one of the most ascetic worshippers, one of the greatest scholars, a narrator of hadith, a scholar of tafsir, a great alim, and one of the people who narrated so many ahadith from the previous generation. However, there is an issue with Al-Hasan Al-Basri which doesn't impugn his integrity. It's just that in his time frame, the concept of narrating sources wasn't quite fully developed. I.e., Al-Hasan Al-Basri is well known for dropping sources. And in Arabic, this is called tadlis. And tadlis is of different types. And of the types of tadlis is that, for example, if you heard from somebody who heard from somebody else, and then you just drop the intermediary, and you say, oh, so-and-so said, and you drop the intermediary who told you. Well, technically, you are only narrating what has been told to you, and that's technically not a lie. But when you're talking about hadith narrations, you have to be very specific where you get it from. And later scholars of hadith really tightened this knot over here. They said you have to be very, and of course they have every right to do that. But Al-Hasan Al-Basri is 100 Hijrah, right? He's alive and flourishing, 90, 100, he died 110 Hijrah. So he's at a very early time frame. And in his